The assassin. You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest. You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest.
What up, y'all? You're listening to Sports Talk with Tropp, and I'm your host, Katie Tropp. So how's your fantasy football team doing? Because both of mine are sitting pretty right now in my league, my NFL.com Footballaholics League. That's the one I'm the commissioner of. I actually ended up Team Crazy Crackers as the number one seed in the league, and I get a bye week this week. So I get to sit pretty, kick my feet up, and see who my next opponent is going to be next week. And then over in my ESPN.com league, the Money League, Team Crazy Crackers, I unfortunately, now luckily, as I said, we get our playoffs are 2 weeks. So it's week 14, and then it's this week, week 15 combined. And so last week, it kind of mattered, but you didn't lose, luckily. And so I did technically lose the week, 109 to 107, which pissed me off because he had my opponent had the kicker Nick Folk for the New England Patriots, and I had like a 8-point lead going into that game, and so like that was the only thing keeping me up for that Monday Night Football game. As a matter of fact, just hoping that Nick Folk wouldn't score anything, and then when he did, that's basically when I stopped paying attention to that game because it was a total snooze fest, which we'll get into. But luckily, because I did have some guys on bye week, which fucking sucked, which is why I guess I'm assuming why we're having a 2-week playoff deal, because some of us got screwed over with the bye week, because I actually was missing Jonathan Taylor and Chris Olave, two of my big point makers. So although, I mean, like I said, I lost by 2 points. So obviously I'm still in the hunt. I'm still in it. My team should bounce back this week. They fucking better bounce this week, because I'm going to be pissed off if I lose this round. Anyways, let's get into what happened on Monday Night Football. One of the most boring fucking games of the season, which says a lot because there's been a couple of snooze fests. Usually on the Thursday Night Football ones, they tend to be the snooze fests. But man, this New England Patriots at Arizona Cardinals game was just atrocious. Patriots did get the win 27-13. But basically, the Cardinals' first, the news was, of course, on the Cardinals' first drive, Twatler Murray, he started running, and unfortunately, he tore his ACL, and he is going to be out for the rest of the season. And we'll see how much of next season he ends up missing too, because torn ACLs, they could be about depending on how bad the tear is and all that. Now, also, some athletes have just come right back, like Adrian Peterson. Years ago, he tore his ACL, but he came right back, and he looked exactly like it was. And he came back really quick, too, like super quick. But generally, a torn ACL is going to be about an 8 to 12 month recovery. So there's a good possibility he's going to be missing the beginning of next season. And it's just the Cardinal season just keeps getting worse each and every week. And then Colt McCoy came in, and he just, honestly, it looked like the entire Cardinals team was just so stunned. I mean, Cardinals are not a good team at all this year anyways to begin with. But then once that injury happened, it really just was so sudden. It just threw them for a loop, and you could tell it threw all of them for a loop, including their coach. Like, the look on Kingsbury's face when it happened was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then Colt McCoy just kind of laid a stinker out there. And the Patriots were able to overcome their offensive follies, because they weren't really that good either. It's really just the Cardinals, just a terrible ass team. But New England did get the win, and they're still in the playoff hunt. So good for them. But I ain't even gonna lie, that was the first game this season that I've actually fallen asleep I think in like the fourth quarter is when I started to doze off, and then I completely fell asleep and was like, oh wow, that was a snooze fest. As I said, I stopped paying attention really once Nick Folk it tied it up between me and the fantasy football in my fantasy football league. Once it got tied up, I was like, fuck, I ain't gonna win this shit. So yeah, I pretty much stopped paying attention then because it was just an awful game between two awful teams. So let's get into some good teams. My top 10 NFL power rankings. There is some shakeups, not at the top spot, of course, but there are a little bit of shakeups, and there's actually a new team in here who has not made an appearance in the top 10. So let's get right to it. Number one, of course, remains the stupid-ass Philadelphia Eagles. They're 12-1. They are the first team in the league to clinch a playoff spot this year, and they just keep on rolling. Jalen Hurts, 3,157 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions, 686 rushing yards, and 10 rushing touchdowns. Dude is just having a phenomenal year. The rest of the offense around him, though, they're doing their job also. But defensively, this team is killing it. They lead the league with 15 interceptions. They also have 49 sacks. So this team is just really fucking good, and it's really fucking pissing me off. Now here's where shit gets shaken up. At number 2 on my top 10 NFL power rankings this week, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Overall record of 9-4. And when you kick the shit out of the GOAT, Tom Brady, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though the Bucs aren't that good of a team, sorry, any team with Tom Brady on it, when you kick their ass like that, you shoot up my power rankings. As soon as that game was over, I was like, I already know. I'm putting the Niners at number 2 because that was just a pure ass kicking. They looked great defensively. I know everybody's really all hung up on Brock Purdy, but I'm pretty sure that guy's going to look like a rookie at some point. But hey, this game, he had a really good game, stepped right in, looked solid. But to me, it was really just the rest of the team around him, especially this defense. You know, Joey Bosa leads the league with 14.5 sacks. And then they also, defensively, overall, they have 14 interceptions and 36 sacks on the season. So really, this is just a very complete team other than the quarterback situation. It's just very shaky there. And who knows how long that the good winning streak is going to last with Brock Purdy. But Niners are on a 6-game winning streak right now, looking really good. And like I said, when you kick the shit out of any Tom Brady led team like that, you got to shoot up the power rankings. So they are at number 2. Then at number 3 on my top 10 NFL power rankings, I have the Buffalo Bills. Overall record of 10-3, and they just really continue they finally found a ground attack, and now that was really the missing piece they had. And even though Von Miller is out for the rest of the season, defensively they still look good. They're still a powerhouse. And, Josh Allen, he's having a great season still. He's got 3,553 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions on the season. So he's cut down on the interceptions these last couple of games. Stephon Diggs is still producing. He's got 1,239 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. And then the defense. I don't think this defense gets a lot of credit. They're very, very quiet defense that nobody's really talking about, but they've got 13 interceptions on the season. They're ball hawks, and they're just really getting at every quarterback that they see. So the Bills looking real good right now. Then at number 4 on my top 10 NFL power rankings, another team that has shot their way up the power rankings, and that would be the Cincinnati Bengals. Overall record of 9-4. They just are looking really fucking good right now, and it's really difficult to deny them a top spot anymore. They are just rolling. Joe Burrow is rolling. He's got 3,685 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions on the season. Jamar Chase has come right back from missing a couple of games. He missed a month, and he still has 821 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. So really, the Bengals, their defense isn't the best, but they're able to hold it down. You know, they gave Mahomes hell, and they really, if they are on, the Bengals are just a team you don't want to fuck with. And they just seem to be getting hotter as the season rolls on. So they have shot up the power rankings as well this week. Then at number 5 on my top 10 NFL power rankings of the Kansas City Chiefs, overall record of 10-3. and this is just the Patrick Mahomes show. He's passed for 4,160 yards on the season, which, of course, still leads the league, with 33 touchdowns, which, of course, still leads the league, and 11 interceptions. So the dude is on fire. I know I mentioned in the last episode I was looking at Jalen Hurts as potentially somebody who could win the MVP over Mahomes, but really, if you just look at the stats, and really if you just compare the teams, the Eagles are a far superior team at every position other than quarterback, whereas Mahomes, he's got an okay offensive line. He's got a pretty good running game, and he's got okay wide receivers and an okay defense, and then he's just top-notch A-plus quarterback. So, and he's just playing out of his mind. So Patrick Mahomes still is the MVP leader at this current point in time, in my opinion. And then you got Travis Kelce, who's now eclipsed the 1,000-yard receiving mark. He's at 1,039 yards and 12 freaking touchdowns. Dude is money in the red zone. I mean, he's money anyways, but money in the fucking red zone. Real talk, though, just on a historic perspective, both Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski are like two tight end unicorns. And I personally am very privileged to have seen, Gronk is retired and his stellar career. And it's the same thing with Kelce. These two guys, they've taken because, Antonio Gates was kind of that dude who really kind of changed the way people looked at tight end, and he was a more athletic guy, but he was not even half as athletic as Kelce and Gronk were. But it's crazy to see what these guys are doing, and with Kelce eclipsing 1,000 yards, and he's great in the red zone, but in the open field, that dude, he's hard to tackle and he's fast as fuck. But then also turn over to the defensive side of things. While they do have their holes and they do have their issues, they still have 42 sacks on the season. So they're still getting the job done when they really need to. But the Chiefs just roll through Patrick Mahomes. Then at number 6 on my Tropp 10 NFL Power Rankings, falling a few spots this week, my Dallas Cowboys. Overall record of 10-3. Of course, when you barely beat the Texans, you're going to have to fall behind some of these other teams. Even though I don't look at that game as negatively as the rest of the world is currently at this point in time, just because it's funny to me, the Eagles barely beat the Texans like a month ago. I think that final score was something like 16-10, if I recall. And they barely got by them. So I don't understand. Well, I do understand because it's the Cowboys and everybody wants to hate on the Cowboys, but there's been a few teams who have barely got by the Texans who played pretty well this year. So I'm not going to count the Cowboys out yet just because they barely got by the Texans, but still should have played a better game, but they didn't, but still got the win. And, the defense is holding it down. But really, this two-headed monster at running back is just crazy. Right now, Tony Pollard has 894 rushing yards on the season and 9 touchdowns. Then you got Zeke with 716 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. So that's just a very balanced attack right there. They're both money in the passing attack as well. And then Zeke's great with blocking also. And then CD Lamb, he's having a phenomenal year with 961 yards and 6 touchdowns. Then at number 7 on my Tropp 10 NFL Power Rankings of the Minnesota Vikings, overall record of 10-3, and their offense is just on fire. Defense has been falling off the last couple of weeks, but offensively they look real good. Dalvin Cook's got 950 rushing yards on the season and 8 touchdowns, and Justin Jefferson, that dude's got 1,500 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns on the season. Dude is just money, and he's the Vikings offense, while they did lose this week to the Lions, offensively, they're still looking pretty good, and they're better than these last couple of teams in the Tropp 10, that's for sure. Then at number 8 on my Tropp 10 NFL Power Rankings are the Baltimore Ravens, overall record of 9-4. So far, their defense has actually turned it around since with the addition of Roquan Smith a few weeks ago. They've really stepped it up. Right now, they have 14 interceptions on the season, 39 sacks, and 12 forced fumbles. So really, they're getting at it. It's just at the end of games, they tend to give it up. And then offensively, they've really just been laying eggs. So the Ravens, they're starting to fall off a little bit to me, but they're still Tropp 10 worthy at this point. Then at number 9 on my Tropp 10 NFL Power Rankings, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. overall record of 7-6, and this team just rolls through Justin Herbert. He's got 3,706 passing yards on the season, 21 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. He has just such a beautiful pass. I love watching this guy play quarterback, and I really, really fucking hope one of these days the Chargers get their fucking act together and get some weapons around him, because you don't want to waste the beautiful talent that Justin Herbert is. But they're the Chargers, so chances are they're probably going to waste his talent. But hey, until then, we'll just keep marveling at how beautiful that arm is. Then rounding out the top 10 NFL power rankings this week, a team that has not sniffed the top 10, a team that I didn't ever think would be near the top 10, at least this season, and that's the Detroit Lions. And that's because they are 4-1 in their last 5 games. 6-7 overall in the season, but hey, they started off the season 1-5, and they've really, really put it together, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But really, Jared Goff, this dude has gone off this season. I don't know what's going on, but he's passed for 3,352 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions on the season, and he's just high flying. He gives no fucks, and he's been very efficient with the ball. And the Lions are just playing tough, hard-nosed football and look pretty good right now, and I actually think they look better than a lot of other teams, so I decided to put them in the top 10 this week. We'll see how much longer that lasts. I don't think it's going to last that long, but we'll see. All right, and then Thursday Night Football's matchup is a good one this week. We have the San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. Right now, the 49ers are a 3.5-point favorite. This matchup over the last decade has just been a battle. I mean, even when one of the teams is shitty and the other one's good, it's always a battle. This one has come down to the very last play on so many occasions, I can't even count. So I'm expecting this to be a good game regardless of how these two teams play. For some reason, though, I just kind of feel like this is going to be a comeback down to earth moment for Brock Purdy. I have a feeling he's going to have some rookie mistakes in this game, and that's what's going to cost them in the end. Seattle's defense is nothing to fuck with. They are probably the most underrated defense in the league that nobody is talking about. I mean, they are getting fumbles, they're getting sacks, they're getting points off of turnovers, and they're really setting their offense up in nice position. Geno Smith has been very solid this year, and the Seahawks are at home. So I'm going with the Seahawks in this one. Very close one. Probably going to come down to the last play of the game. I have the Seahawks winning 21-20. And so right now the playoff picture is looking like this. We have in the AFC right now, the Buffalo Bills would be the number 1 overall seed. They're 10-3, and right now they lead the AFC East. Then at number 2 would be the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 10-3, and right now they lead the AFC West. Then the number 3 seed would be the Baltimore Ravens at 9-4. They currently lead the AFC North. And then rounding out the division winners or division leaders at the 4 seed would be the Tennessee Titans. They're 7-6, and right now they lead the AFC South. The 3 wild card spots right now go to the Cincinnati Bengals at 9-4, Miami Dolphins at 8-5, and the New England Patriots at 7-6, with the Chargers and the Jets on the outside looking in. And then turning to the NFC, right now, as I said, the Eagles have already clinched the playoff spot. Right now, they would be the number 1 seed. They are 12-1 and currently lead the NFC East. The number 2 seed would be the Minnesota Vikings at 10-3. They currently lead the NFC North. Number 3 seed would be the San Francisco 49ers. They're 9-4, and they currently lead the NFC West. And rounding out the division leaders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're 6-7, and they currently lead the division that nobody wants to win, the NFC South. Then the wild card spots right now are the Dallas Cowboys at 10-3, Washington Redskins football team Commanders at 7-5-1, and the New York Giants at 7-5-1. And on the outside looking in, we have the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. So shit's getting spicy. We have 4 games left in the season. We'll see where we're at come playoff time, but it's looking pretty crazy there. We'll see what happens. I feel like it's mostly set, but there's going to be a couple of shakeups here. I mean, 4 games, that's a lot of games there. Then we did have a little bit of baseball news, especially for me. My San Francisco Giants have been very fucking quiet this offseason, and I have not liked it at all. Keep seeing all these great players that they have been rumored to be signing. Go sign elsewhere. And so it was looking like we were going to have another shit offseason. But luckily, yesterday, Carlos Correa, the shortstop, is signing with the San Francisco Giants on a 13-year, $350 million contract. That is the fourth highest contract of all time. So far, I haven't heard anybody asking about the value of this contract like they did Aaron Judge, because for some reason you need to question that, which is fucking stupid, as I've already ranted on, but I digress. But I'm just excited. I like Correa. He's a good player. He's absolutely a player we need. And shortstop is a position you always want to have a top player at. So I like this defensively. Offensively, we still have some work to do. I'm really crossing my fingers. We still are in on Carlos Rodon, who was our only good player from last year. We could definitely use that amazing pitching from him. But I was super excited to wake up this morning and see the news that Carlos Correa has signed with the San Francisco Giants, because we need a big-time player like Correa. So welcome to San Francisco, dude. I can't wait to see what you do. And then we'll end today's show with some sad news. The coach of Mississippi State, Mike Leach, unfortunately had a fatal heart attack on Sunday. Ended up dying on Monday, and it's just crazy because he's only 61. He was currently coaching this year. He was a pretty good coach. Obviously, he didn't really win anything, but all his players respected him. And he's most known for coaching at Texas Tech and Washington State, and currently now, and then of course Mississippi State. And he's really, really known for his amazing quotes. There's a lot of coaches and a lot of players who aren't very friendly with the media, but this dude you could ask him any random stupid question and he's going to give you any random stupid quote. He has so many amazing quotes. He was just a fun coach. And I got to see a lot of him because, I'm a Texas Longhorns fan, and he coached at Texas Tech, and they fucked some shit up for us a few times. So I knew what he was all about. Like I said, he wasn't like a national championship type coach, but he always changed organizations that he went to, and all his players, they loved him. Nobody had anything bad to say about him, including the media. And just very sad to see. But, honestly, I'm shocked this doesn't happen more often, because coaching in any sport, especially on like national levels, pro levels, that's a lot of stress. So it's kind of shocking that doesn't happen more often, where a coach just has a heart attack mid-season. But, fortunately it doesn't, but unfortunately it did this time around. R.I.P. to Mike Leach. You really gave a lot of us a lot of laughs, and it sounds like you made a huge impact on all the players who you coached, and we will all definitely remember you as the hilarious quote machine that you were. So R.I.P. Mike Leach. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the week of sports, and I will talk to you all on Friday.